In modern warfare, the first shot isn't fired from a gun, it's written in a line of code. This is the story of a war that started in silence, across networks and servers, long before the first shots were fired on the ground. And what it reveals is just how vulnerable all of us really are. It all started with an act of sheer brutality. In the quiet valley of Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir, militants stopped a group of civilians. They separated them, and then they executed 26 of them. The message was clear. This wasn't just random violence. It was a calculated move designed for one thing: to provoke a war.
And India responded. On May 7th, Operation Sindoor was launched, a swift, decisive military operation to hunt down the terror groups responsible. But here's the thing. As troops were moving on the ground, a second, invisible war had already been raging for weeks.
You see, every single move in the physical world was being shadowed by a strike in the digital one. This is what's known as hybrid warfare, a conflict fought on two fronts at the exact same time. One with soldiers in the mountains, and the other with code across the internet.
But the chilling part? The cyber attacks didn't start after the incident in Pahalgam. They began 5 days before. As early as April 17th, strange, targeted traffic started hitting Indian government and defense servers. This wasn't a reaction, it was reconnaissance. The digital battlefield was being prepped long before anyone knew a fight was coming.
And the people behind this were not your typical hackers in a basement. These were professionals, state-sponsored groups known as Advanced Persistent Threats, or APTs. We're talking about groups like APT-36, also called Transparent Tribe. They are well-funded, highly skilled, and incredibly patient. For them, a cyber attack is just another strategic move on a geopolitical chessboard.
So how do you breach a nation's digital defenses? Well, the attackers didn't need a sophisticated weapon. All they needed was a carefully crafted email. Let me show you how they did it.
Their weapon of choice was spear phishing. They sent out official-looking emails that seemed to be government advisories about the attack in Pahalgam. Think about that. They used the very crisis they helped create as bait to lure in their next victims, weaponizing concern and turning trust into a vulnerability.
And the tactics were just brilliant, in a very dark way. The documents had titles that were impossible for an official to ignore. Action points in response by Gov, J&K police letter. They even created a fake document about a sexual harassment case involving a senior army officer. Each one was a perfect trap, designed to be clicked.
From there, the infection happens in seconds. The target gets the email, they open the attachment, and in the background, without them ever knowing, a hidden script runs. Before the document even finishes loading, a powerful Trojan called Crimson Rat is installed. And just like that, the system is compromised.
Now, Crimson Rat is basically a ghost in the machine. It's a remote access Trojan, which means it gives the attacker complete, secret control over the infected computer. They can see what you type, take screenshots, steal any file they want, and grab all your passwords. The victim's computer wasn't theirs anymore. It was now a spy, working for the enemy, deep inside India's most critical networks.
And what started as a few individual breaches very quickly spiraled into a national catastrophe. This was way bigger than just a few hacked computers. This was a full-blown digital siege.
The numbers are just staggering. The cybersecurity firm Seekrite tracked over 265 million cyber threats during this period. To put that in perspective, that's an average of 505 attacks detected every single minute, a relentless automated storm of attacks.
And the targets weren't just military. They went after everything. The Ministry of Defense, sure, but also government servers, major hospitals, telecom providers like Jio and BSNL, and even state education portals. They weren't just trying to steal secrets, they were attacking the very infrastructure that runs the country.
But the attack didn't stop there. All that stolen data was immediately taken to the dark web, where it was sold, monetized, and weaponized. A national security disaster was about to hit ordinary citizens.
So you had military secrets being sold on shadow markets, right next to the personal information of regular people, their names, their addresses, their tax records. At the same time, hacktivist groups organized on Telegram, launching their own campaigns to deface websites and use the stolen data to commit widespread financial fraud. It was pure chaos.
But as the country came under digital fire, India's cyber defenders started to fight back. The hunt for the ghosts inside their networks was on.
As CEO Suhas Gopinath put it, the stakes couldn't be higher. He said, if we fail to defend our digital front lines with the same resolve as our physical borders, we risk losing the war before it even begins. He was absolutely right.
What happened next was this intense digital cat-and-mouse game. The attackers would release a new version of their malware, like the Ares rat, and in response, defenders at companies like SeekRight and government agencies like Certain would create custom signatures to detect it. The attackers sent new phishing emails, the defenders sent out threat advisories. It was a constant battle of moves and countermoves.
One of the most important tools in this fight is something called a Yara rule. The simplest way to think about it is like a digital fingerprint for a virus. Researchers analyze a piece of malware and create a unique signature based on its code. Then they can use that fingerprint to scan entire networks, hunting for that exact threat so they can track it down and neutralize it. Okay, so what does any of this invisible war fought with code and servers, have to do with you? Well, everything, because the front line of this new kind of war runs right through our daily lives. That clear line that used to exist between a military battle and civilian life, it's gone. An attack on a power grid, a bank's servers, or a hospital's network isn't a sci-fi plot anymore. It's a real-world weapon, and the consequences can be just as devastating as a physical one.
And here's the bottom line. In this new age of conflict, your personal data, your information, is now a strategic resource. It's a commodity that can be stolen to fund an enemy or used to create chaos. It means that your personal cybersecurity is no longer just personal. It's now a matter of national security. Operation Sindoor was a brutal wake-up call. It showed us that the most lasting damage in modern conflict might not happen on a physical battlefield at all. Which leaves us with a really critical question. In a world where the next war will be decided by clicks and code, is India's digital armor strong enough to protect us? I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below.